Hello again, my name is Gabe Zolna. This is the 27th of March 2018. Just read an article on Breitbart, and the title is The Nuclear Option, Collapsing News Network, CNN, MSM, Hope, Raunchy Sex Scandal, Ends Trump. This is written by Charles Hurt. First, they tried to beat him at the polls. They lost miserably. Then they unleashed America's most powerful and penetrating espionage apparatus against him at the height of the presidential campaign and got caught red-handed. Once he assumed the White House, they tried beating him with sprawling federal investigation into, quote, Russian collusion, end of quote, only to discover that they themselves were the only ones colluding with the Kremlin to tilt the 2016 election. Frustrated and exhausted and completely out of ideas, the grand cyclops of the Washington swamp has finally resorted to the only thing that has resulted in a presidential impeachment since Reconstruction, a raunchy sex scandal. Well, it isn't the sex scandal that's going to result in his impeachment. What's going to result in his impeachment is his lies. So they dredged up old stories from President Trump's colorful past as a tabloid titan, real estate showman, and reality TV star. Old stories, stories that keep evolving and remain unverified, about alleged affairs from long before he ever got into politics. Well, the mistake they made was that $130,000 by Michael Cohen. Over at CNN, the old communist network turned Clinton News Network, turned collapsing news network, former journalists have gone full bore to repaint these old stories as shiny and new. And they're trotting them out for the real final kill shot. Porn star Stormy Daniels was on 60 Minutes this weekend, for real, not making this up. Well, 60 Minutes had its best viewing in over 10 years with Stormy Daniels, so people are interested and people watched. Hovering at the very front of the crowd, lurking outside the peep show curtain, is none other than CNN Anderson Cooper, a longtime veteran of the racy Old Times Square scene. Earlier this week, it was a Playboy model he interviewed, but only for the stories. Seriously? Well, Karen McDougal actually fell in love with this guy. This guy meaning Trump. Next up, Stormy Daniels, famous for multitasking and handling several men at once on screen. Mr. Cooper will prove hardly a match for this gal. This important interview comes after Stormy Daniels posed for pictures, apparently submitting to a lie detector test. It was unclear in the picture that this really did hook up with an actual polygraph machine, or if it was a black snake strangling a package of Easter Peps. The polygraph is an instrument for recording several pulsations of the body at the same time. Behold, the polygraph versus the polyreceptacle. These swamp denzies, so desperate to deliver the kill shot to Mr. Trump, insist that they have dug up his Monica Lewinsky. For goodness, haven't these people piled enough insult and injury upon Monica Lewinsky? Hurt, this has nothing to do with Monica Lewinsky. This has got to do with what Trump did to himself. The mistake is he hasn't come clean, which is what I said he should have done before this thing aired on 60 Minutes. That woman, Miss Lewinsky, never posed nude. She is not a porn star. She never sought the spotlight telling conflicting stories about a relationship with the president. Well, he wasn't the president back then, just a horn dog. She never offered to pay back $130,000, though she could tell her story. By the way, How many successful porn hits do you have to make in order to have so much money you're actually willing to pay $130,000 to tell your story? Or perhaps, is there something else going on here? I believe she probably got offered an awful lot of money to do what she's doing. But I think she's telling the truth. Anyway, Miss Lewinsky was a 22-year-old White House intern when she repeatedly and recklessly molested by the most powerful man on the planet, who also happened to be her boss. And then President Bill Clinton performed his slick predatory lechery on government time in the government office, using his government position to not only collect sexual favors, but to subsequently cover them up and punish those seeking the truth. And of course, the media scandal surrounding Mr. Clinton Lewinsky lechery stemmed from the fact that America's most powerful media organization of the day were desperately trying to cover up the story. It wasn't until Internet News and personal Matt Drudge revealed the cover-up, as well as the original scandal, that the top was blown off the story. In these days of fake news, it is nearly impossible to discern who is lying and who is just being snookered. But one thing is for sure, nobody is trying to cover up for Stormy Daniels. Well, as I had said, this could be put to bed in a heartbeat. All President Trump has to do is come out and admit that he did it. And he needs to apologize to all of those women that he took advantage of and hurt. If he does that, I think he'll be okay. If he continues to deny it, I think he'll be removed from office. Just my opinion. I'll attach the article. And I can understand why Charlie Hurt said what he said. But that doesn't change what Donald Trump said about his daughter Ivanka. Thanks for listening. You know who's really got to be upset about all this is Ivanka's husband, Jared Kushner. I know I sure as hell would be. Let me know what you think. You know what Charles Hurt thinks. And you sure as hell know what I think, don't you? Thanks for listening. The link will be attached.